All right, so all right, man, we about to go ahead and get into it, man. So I'm about to just do a markup of my pairs. I'm gonna start with Euro USD just because I feel like she has one of the closest opportunities. I feel like to have some movement next week. So we're gonna go ahead and talk about her. Need to see need to see where she is in this movement. So this fib here, the purple, that should be big fib here to here, possibly, probably. Yeah, got 7H right there where that structure break is. Okay. And you see we got this M looking structure here with this big. She just she just came out of this area, touching this 78 here, getting out of this channel. So this is what we got. This is what we graphing off of. I'm definitely bullish. Overall, I'm definitely already thinking bullish, but she does have opportunity to sell as well. So we're gonna go ahead and delete everything and we're gonna talk about it. Want to look at the bear for nothing for a second. Sold energy. All right, so now we just got the big fib. Got this zone down here. But yeah, we got this channel that she came out of. Um, and then she started. This was the prior high. Doom doom. So just looking at the lows and the highs. This was a high here. And you can see she started to make some higher highs here. So this is the first real higher high getting up into here. Um, so that's just important to know for just momentum. Just looking at it a certain way. So understanding this is a high, it's not anything unexpected that we get this pullback here. It's just one of the lows. If this is bullish and she does continue to push bullish, and it makes a higher high, this was nothing but a low. So, um, that's really where my mind is initially, and that's the main bias that I'm thinking. But I do see opportunity for her to possibly fall down a little more. This can still be a pullback, um, but where it stops is always an obstacle sometimes. So I say that being we have some divergence um, here. All right, she did make a higher high. Let's see if we got any divergence on stochastics. Not really on that 4 hour. I mean, they're not really. Here we do. Here, this one is higher than this one on stochastics, but here it's higher. So it's a little bit there. Not really on the two, like they're in the same spot. So it's just simple divergence. It's not, too crazy on stochastics or anything. But this is divergent structure though. That is certainly divergent structure. Um, let's see where breaker structure is. So yeah, around right here is breaker structure. Yeah. Around right here is definitely breaker structure. So she did get into a little bit of a sell pattern. That was that initial channel that I had marked up when I came on because I seen this here. Um, that is a descending channel. This is the 1 hour time frame I'm on right now. I do want to see how it looks on the higher time frames as well. Yeah, you can see on those higher time frames, it is definitely a descending channel. And she did pop outside of it. She did make a higher high. I mean, she did, get above here and close some candlesticks. She did make a W structure down here. It's looking like some divergence. Um, I would to mark that neckline of that double bottom W divergent structure. I probably put this, this rectangle right here, covering here, but also getting up into this candle and this liquidity here. So could be an area we see her return back to get some support to come back up. If this is all that she wanted out of this divergent structure. All right. Because, she could want more out of this structure. She could want more out of the cell still. All right. With this being a M, let's say this is double top, the neckline is here. This is the neckline right here where the white line is. All right. So, you can see just with this 3 hour candle, I'll show you which candle I'm talking about. Just with this 3 hour candle here, you can see we got to this neckline and we got a wick and she created a hammer, a bearish hammer, right? This candle was working her way back up, retested, but wick back down. So we'll see how she reacts at this neckline, the retest of this structure. Because if you look at this, on a foundational level, of course I have the bias that, overall, maybe on those higher time frames, just over those weak candles or within the next 2 or 3 weeks, I understand that she may want to retest maybe down into this area. If this sale continues, she may come back down into here. But this may be what she needs just so she can break through and make higher high on this side. So that's how you want to break down your different time frames, right? But looking at her with just these candles and looking at this sequence that she's on right now, with this being divergence, we having this M structure, this double top, with this being the neckline of us just following the foundations of what's going on right now in the market. This should continue to be resistance, right? Understanding this neckline can also represent like support and resistance, right? Whenever the price was above, here, let's see, like right here, right? At this point, this line is still support. All right. There's certain traders who, they find a range. So let's say, they're on their chart and they're doing their analysis and they put a horizontal line where I have mine. And let's say they label it as a support line, right? And they go up here and then they set a horizontal line. They come here and then they set a horizontal line and they label this resistance line. It's some traders who they like trading at those they like trading with ranges. So whenever this trade gets back down to the support line, they're more apt to go ahead and put a buy position. You know, whether they're scalping or they're looking to get some pullback off a candle, or they believe she might go back up and push top of range at the resistance again. You know, so that's, you at this point, where I've replayed it to, you still have to respect this neckline and this support as support. All right. It's not until she gets below it that we understand that this same line that was used as support will be flipped and it can be used as resistance. And that's where we have right now today. So let me get so that's what we have right now. So, with her getting down to that support, she fell through it. And now this is the retest. She kind of right over here in this area. Let's see. Right here in this area, she tried to, maybe come back up and retest, retesting this market structure, retesting the low of these candles. Yep. Retesting the low of these candles here, retesting this neckline, and then she fell down and made a lower low. Now she has broke the channel. This structure does look really good as far as this W, right? That W looks really good. That's what I like to look for, especially breaking that channel. And the bottom of this W here being retest of that channel. That does look good, especially with her rising above this area. It does look good for her to, perhaps want to push back up. And it's one of those possibilities, right? I'm not marking anything out of the possibilities. I understand what I can get short term. I understand what I can get long term. And I understand what it means for the market if we see her push past certain points. So one of those points where I know it's gonna mean something right here. Well, okay, because those wicks, I like those wicks, but I also the actual candle. So this zone here, yeah, this zone here. If let's say she gets above this white line, the neckline, and she starts to close nice candles and form some continuation structure, and she pushes above this box. At that point, I understand that, we're not in sales sequence anymore. We're not in this short sales sequence. We're going to see continuation of this. We're seeing continuation of this initial big impulse. So we got our impulse, retracement, and now we're going to see impulse, and that's confirmed. That's confirmed after I see her get above this neckline, form some continuation structure, and strongly get above this box here I just drew. All right, that's my thinking because I have all this free space. There's people that want to get in the market really fast, but I have, let's say I don't get into the market until right here. Well, I have all this space for her to work up to the top of this range, for her to come back and take back up this liquidity. So, we're talking about what, 500, 600, 700 pips in Euro USD. I mean, with just two, three, 400 pips, that's a good day in Euro USD. That's a really good day. So talking about getting five, six, 700, that's only putting on top. So, I feel like as an analysis with this market this week, one can be very patient if they know that they want to get a continuation of that buy, but they don't want to get themselves in a bad situation with her, still can use these zones as resistance. All right. Because what I just showed you right there with these potential pips, that's all possibility, contingent of her showing that she wants to get above these zones. But for right now, as it is in reality at this moment with the market being closed at 2:13 p.m., um, this is still resistance. This can still be used as resistance. She could use these to continue to sell, and she could want to take back up some of this space. All right. Either way, either direction, there's opportunity for people who trade Forex. There's opportunity for you to make money in this market right here. All right. So that's what I'm really seeing. I'm gonna throw in some more fib and things like that. Just mark it up a little bit more. I want to see some of these zones. But as far as price action, man, just as far as foundations, understanding balance of these structures, that's really how you want to look at that to get a good synopsis of how you want to trade for the week and Euro USD. Where she set down right here, this market structure, this market structure right here, that was sitting on that 78. And then she fell through. This is retest of that 78, this neckline, this zone up in here. Um, you know, she could push through and get bullish, but still got to use this as resistance. She could want to head back down towards the 61 one more time. You can see she almost got to it right here. Um, then we got our 38 is right here at this pink line, which is the 61. Top of range is the 23. That 23% right here is considered like top of range. These candlesticks kind of, where she broke from. Some very accurate fib. That looks good. I understand what I'm getting here. Probably go ahead and mark it up. All right. Got my fib up. Um, yeah. We'll get to these spaces here. If she does make a higher high, and she does continue to buy this right here, her coming to retest the neckline of the bottom of this W divergence looking structure here. This was divergence. And then break of that structure was the catalyst for her to get into this channel. So her retesting the bottom of this zone here would definitely be good take profits for an initial take profit. Just an area that we might can see maybe some pullback or some wicks on some candles after we see some volatility if we get it. See how many pips from the high here that is. It's about 700 and some pips. So that's some really, really good pips in Euro USD. Possibility she might even, push forward and want to, do more. But, you know, just looking at some good points in the market where we can get in and out. I think it's pretty good. It's pretty well mapped out here. Obviously, just so I can see, I don't want to mark this thing up too much and make it confusing. But this is just for me to see the progress of the current retracement. Right. So this is an impulse, and this is the current retracement here. So I just want to see the progress. So she's sitting on that 61%. Fibonacci is very important. A retracement can begin to be its own impulse, contingent of crossing this Goldilocks zone between that 61 and that 50%. So with her sitting at 61, that looks good. She definitely got to, make some noise, finish above this 50%, finish, within the zone. This is where I said I feel comfortable maybe getting some entries if I felt like we would see some volatility, her pushing back up into here. So that's good. That's good. I'll go ahead and just delete this. I'll bring it back later if I need it. Um, but I think that's a real good synopsis in Euro USD.